Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so the Lakers got the victory in the road trip, 121 to 115 in Charlotte. And yeah, the road trip went good. All things considered, went 3 out of 5. That is really, really solid for our squad, especially without AD. Given the fact that we had been losing games at home before the road trip began, it was just looking really grim to start the road trip, but we found ourselves on this Eastern Conference road trip in a very, very good way. So I cannot complain at all given how things have gone. Now, the fourth quarter was not great. We had a 39-point fourth quarter that we gave up to the Charlotte Hornets, allowing them to effectively get back into the basketball game after having a 24-point lead. Terry Rozier just basically went crazy in the last couple of minutes of the game. Basically, the whole fourth quarter was him finding his rhythm after basically being cold for like 2 weeks straight. He was cold all the way up into the fourth quarter of this game and then snapped out of that slump. But down the stretch of the game, they just ran out of time and we were able to do enough. I got to give credit to LeBron James, 43 points. I believe it was 11 rebounds on 16-26 shooting. 0 for 5 from the three, so we're still not happy with the three-point looks there. But other than that, everything was just spectacular, man. Just absolutely spectacular. And you talk about 43 points after coming off of a 47-point situation in Atlanta. This is what's required for us to win. Unfortunately, though, I gotta be honest with you. I don't look at that score and say that any of those points weren't absolutely necessary. You gotta also give credit to a guy, Austin Reeves, who came in only 22 minutes, had 16 points. I think it was 7 rebounds, 6 assists, or something of that nature. Gotta love the production there. Thomas Bryant with 15 big boards. I think it was 17 points or something like that. Very, very, very fantastic production from him, and I encourage everybody to check out my halftime video because I said some things about Thomas Bryant I think are important. We want to try to feed him as much as possible and continue to see how much efficiency we can get out of him with more looks, because look what he's given us. It's very obvious that he's in a very, very seriously good groove with this squad and plays so very well with LeBron James. The synergy is there, and I just think that it's working. That two-man game that we're hoping to see from him and AD, we can kind of simulate a little bit of that with TB, and we're able to weather the storm. So with him rebounding the way that he's been rebounding and Bron scoring the way that he's been scoring, that's contributed greatly. And then you got to give credit to Troy Brown, who was just completely all over the floor tonight. I think he played his best defensive game to me. He rebounded very well to start the game and then hit his three-point shots when given to him. He was just all over the court tonight, forcing the issue, showing that he has high upside on the defensive side, and that can be where things open up for him, as to which when his defense turns into offense and he's forcing things, and then from there, once he starts getting his confidence on the defensive end, you start seeing him have more confidence on the offensive end. So that's the formula for him. You got to look at him as a guy who's going to show you much more upside on the defensive end, and he's going to make his money on the defensive end. And if he wants to be his best self, I'm starting to figure it's going to start there. And if he puts most of his energy on that side of the ball, I'm finding that it's really translating to him ultimately finding his confidence. So that's the formula for Troy, man. I love the fact that we inserted him to the starting lineup. It made our small ball two-man Schroeder, Patrick Beverly backcourt look a lot better when we have TB down there as a small forward with, of course, Troy Brown, which is also TB, right? Troy Brown and TB, the two TBs down there, basically providing us what we need in that starting lineup. Yeah, I never noticed they were both TB, but that's what it is. So we want to just put them in that starting lineup and keep them there. That's what I'm seeing there. I love that. I like Austin Reeves in that starting lineup. These are the things that we were wishing our coach would kind of do more conventionally, but I guess he's just not going to do it. He's going to go with Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverly. And I thought they played well. I'm very happy with how I've been seeing those guys play these last 2 games. I think that their up level of play and then ultimately just being more of a plus for our team when they're down there has made all the difference. And for all the complaining that we've done about them, there's not a whole lot to say over these last 2 games. Tonight Patrick Beverly had 3 blocks. And he had a couple blocks in the last game too. He's just catching guys from the weak side, or not weak side. I don't think I'm phrasing that right, but he's catching them as they're pulling up. He's catching them from behind and swatting them, and he's doing it like multiple times a game right now. So I'm loving what I'm seeing in that particular area. He's doing stuff that's really, really helping the team on the defensive side, of course. And Dennis Schroeder's just making plays, even though he had some missed shots out there, at the air ball, had some really funny stuff going on in the first quarter that I just thought was like not his best. But ultimately he was able to contribute as well. So, like I said, having TB down there, both of the TBs with those two, make a huge difference. And it was a lot to be said for just how easy LeBron James was able to get buckets out there. We talk a lot about what we don't like in regards to LeBron James, but I'm certain we're going to miss him when he's gone, because that is somebody who completely is just, you can count on being able to score so very much just from having him on the floor. And one thing that we can take for granted is how much we can actually count on so much scoring that he provides. But when he's not out there, we can see how hard it is for us to accumulate scoring. And so that's the one thing that I think Los Angeles, myself, I can't speak for no other Laker fans, but I can speak for my very own self, where I say I take him for granted big time, because that scoring that he gives you when he's driving in the paint, and his efficiency and continuing to just be absolutely spectacular every single time he drives to the basket. You can count on him to make his layups. You can count on him to do certain things. You can count on his jump shots to fall. It's almost like you can pencil him in for the majority of what your team would need in scoring, and everybody else just has to do the minimal effort, and you can stay in the game if he's really hot. And so I'm very appreciative of what he gave us tonight, and as well as on his birthday as well. It's just been really, really fun to watch LeBron James in action, and that's what I want to say. It's been a lot of fun, man. I've enjoyed the heck out of that. The reverse layup, the reverse dunk that he had off Dennis Schroeder's lob, I thought was one of the greatest LeBron James plays I had ever seen, man. And he did that tonight at the age of 38. One of the best reverse dunks you'll see, and it was no question about it. He got the lift he needed. It was all good. 38, man. He still has it. And just some of the other lobs too. He had another lob with Austin Reeves out there. I think it was like 2 or 3 lobs that he caught tonight. He's just really, really, really in his bag. The rhythm that they found is nice with the big players that we're using, having JTA back, Wenyen Gabriel, Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown, Austin Reeves. Now you're seeing a bunch of length that really complements LeBron James, and you understand what I mean when I say all the Lakers had to do last year was play Dwight Howard a little bit, because LeBron James is going to provide so much if the guys around him are doing the other things like rebounding and getting 50-50 balls and providing rim protection. He can give you the scoring. He can hold that part down so very much. Just have a couple shooters around who could do certain things, a couple guys create for themselves like Schroeder and Lonnie, and he should be able to do a whole lot to carry your team, even though he's not going to affect winning the same way he used to. It don't mean you're not going to get 40 points out of him, 35 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds, that kind of, or whatever he decides to give you on the boards. He's somebody who knows how to give his team what they need when the rebound is necessary too. He'll up his rebounds to 17, 18 rebounds if you don't have a center on the floor. Like, these are things that we just pencil in and say, yep, Bron gave us this, Bron gave us that. It's like, no, slow down. Nobody else is doing that, bro. Nobody else, none of your superstars that you have, you can pencil in this league that are going to be that consistent at what it is that they do. And if they are that consistent, they sure as hell ain't going to be able to do it when they get to our age. They ain't going to be doing it at 38. So this is me able to tell you guys how appreciative I am of having LeBron James on this team, even though things haven't gone well. Yeah, for the most part, we got a championship, of course. But, for the most part, for what we were expecting, it didn't go the way we wanted it to yet. And it's all the reports are going around that are starting to float around that, it's time to part ways, I guess. Genie's basically about ready to part ways. Seems like Bron's on his, it looks like this is about to end. I'm not sure. But I just can see a world where the Los Angeles Lakers let him go somewhere else, and then we still suck, and we're going to miss him for real. We can make a couple good moves, couple solid moves, and then we're going to understand what it is he brought to the table when we go on scoring droughts. You know what I mean? When we have our full team, when we've done our rebuild, and we have our superstar, and he ain't nowhere near as good as LeBron James, because none of these dudes are anywhere near as good as LeBron James. So when you consider not wanting to get him the help that he needs, right? When you got these 2 picks in your hand, and you consider what all has come down to the situation, and you see performances like tonight, and you see performance like Atlanta, it does make you wonder if you're making a mistake in not investing in him, even though he's 38 years old. When you consider he's playing this way, And he doesn't look like he's really slowing down, to be honest with you. I can very easily see him do this for the rest of the season and then start next year and still be on this level. So it's like, yeah, you have to consider not being better for whatever it is you're about to do. You have to consider it. You have to consider that there is a world where mortgaging your 2 picks is ultimately going to give you a better path toward the next best height that you're going to have. You know what I mean? Now, that doesn't say much for your longevity if he does retire within the next 2 years or something. But to say that I'm 100% sure that this path is simply the only path that's going to lead us to a championship, us rebuilding and all that, when I see him play like this, I can't say that I'm 100% sure of that. I wouldn't be able to look in this camera and say that, dude. I'm not. What I am sure of is the percentages leaning toward him getting hurt if we continue building this way. You know what I mean? Or continue leaning on him this way. If we continue to put him next to AD with the level of stuff that we have, I don't think we can build a strong enough team around them to secure him a championship situation. And so for that, he's better being away from us. But given how much our franchise is in disarray, and given how poor some of the decisions have been made from an organizational standpoint, I don't know that our rebuild is going to go better than whatever the heck we could have done right now in keeping this dude. Just based on my lack of faith in who's in charge and how excellent he is on the basketball floor. You know what I mean? You weigh those two things against one another. It's like, okay, you got certain excellence in LeBron James and you got certain ineptitude with our front office. And it's like we want to remove LeBron James and leave our front office with the ability to do what exactly? Rebuild? It's like, yes, if you have somebody who you're confident in that can rebuild, you feel like you got a good shot in making this being better than the other path. But with our front office, I am not certain. In fact, I think it's 50-50, to be dead honest with you. And that's why I think it's so important that GD do this with, like, if she's going to move on from LeBron James, she really needs to hire another superstar in GM. You understand what I'm saying? To rebuild the process. You need excellence in place to help replace the excellence you're leaving. And that's why I wanted to go hire a Masai Ujiri or a Bob Myers or a Kobe Altman, one of my favorite GMs, whoever she can find, Danny Ainge. I think those guys are solidified in their spots. I don't know that they would be willing to move on. I don't know that the good GMs would necessarily want to come here based on what they've heard. But what I'm telling you is that's what we need. That's what we need. If we're going to let go of a superstar like LeBron James who can put up 47 points on his 38th birthday, then we need to be damn sure that who we're bringing in to blow this thing up is excellent as well. You know what I mean? That's my whole message with the Lakers. But yeah, back to this game. I was happy with this game, you know. Thomas Bryant, you know, I just love how he's rebounding. I love how he's scoring. I love the efficiency that he's playing with. I just want to continue to see us empower him to be his best self. And hopefully he can stay healthy, because that's really my concern. Obviously, the knee injury is something that we know about from Washington. Even though he wasn't here to experience, we all know how bad it was. It kept him out for almost 2 years. So he's 100% healthy now. And I just want to see him continue his career on the right way, man. He gives us so much energy. And I think that energy is infectious, because our team tends not to have it without him, without Westbrook. You know, our energy comes and goes. So I think that when you have him down there, his energy doesn't come and go. It comes and it stays the whole time, and it never leaves. And I'm just extremely happy about his piece on our team. And I haven't forgotten the fact that we started the season without him. And it contributed greatly to why our size issues were as bad as they were. So now that he's back in regular rotation, balling out. Also, Troy Brown's now 100% healthy. We got him in there looking good. Austin Reeves had, like I said, 22 minutes. I think he re-aggravated that ankle a little bit, though. I think that's why we didn't see him too much in the second half. I think he might have hurt that foot a little. But he looked so spectacular in that first half. It was good to see him bounce back from that slump. So healing's the name of the game for him. Of course, Lonnie was in street close tonight, so hopefully he could be healing up too. And when he gets back, we'll be out of that slump that he was in as well. So that's what it's about, man. I like that we were able to shuffle our lineup on this road trip. Some of the things that weren't working against Dallas and we look so bad, we've gotten away from the road trip. And I think guys have gotten closer to each other. I saw synergy, positivity there. Guys looked like they were looking each other in the eye a little more, slapping hands a little more, rooting for each other a little more. It was a lot of that. I think it needs to be said, with that being said, that something went down with Westbrook today. Something went down. and I'm not going to speculate, but I can tell you that we didn't see him in the second half. And I don't know that he was injured. I didn't see nothing, but I did sense that he was not today with us like he had been these last 2 months. This looked like today he looked like the Westbrook from like 3 months ago. And I thought Darvin Ham managed it pretty well. You know, he was going 1 for 8, 3 turnovers, but his plus minus was pretty good. He got a couple assists, a couple of rebounds, but his attitude, his energy, he looked like he was testy tonight. He looked like he was like fussy Westbrook, you know, not happy Westbrook, not positive Westbrook. And so as I was looking at him trying to force shots, kind of force the issue, kind of like not really being himself and then proceed to be bad, I thought that it was the right idea to remove him from the game. And then I looked over in the second half and realized he wasn't sitting with the bench. I'm like, something went down. I don't know what it was, but I think before the game, somebody lit a fire under him that wasn't positive, and he carried over into the basketball game. And they set him, and I'm pretty sure it didn't continue positively after that. But that's just me speculating based on what I did not see, which was him out there. So, yeah, that's just me reading energy, man. He didn't look like he was having a good night. Somebody pissed him off before the game, I think. But anyway, aside from that, it was a very, very solid game. Also, something else that looked, just something I want to point out, just for the sake of pointing out. Darvin didn't look well to me tonight, man. He looked sick. He looked really sick to me. And I don't know that, you know what I mean, maybe it's nothing. But he looked sick to me, for real, for real. And if I knew him, I would be like, yo, go talk to somebody. Go get a checkup, something. You know, so I put that in this video just because it's something that he looked sick to me. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, man, this was a good night for the Lakers. All in all, I just love what I saw from the team as a whole. Even though we did not play very well in the fourth quarter, giving up them 39 points, I ultimately never thought that the game was fully out of hand. But we can study this game in that fourth quarter because we made the same mistake we made against the Boston Celtics and gave up the game. You know, I think LeBron James has a philosophy about slowing down the pace to conserve the clock down the stretch of the game. You know, because of course you want to run the clock out and give yourself an opportunity. But what he's going to find out is with this team this year, when he does that, it has the opposite effect. It's exactly what I'm seeing. For whatever reason, our attack is best when it's at a certain pace. And when you stop playing at that pace, you play into the defense's hands. They're able to slow down on us. Not slow down, but they're able to hone in on their defense because we're playing slower. And as a result, the deficiencies of our players start to enhance. The faster we play, the less those deficiencies appear to show. What I saw tonight was a Laker team that had the ball popping around the perimeter. We were looking for the ball. Even when it didn't fall, we were always looking for the best shot, and their defense wasn't really able to catch up with us. We were able to draw with LeBron James, and it kicked to the shooters. It was working, and that's what was able to get us that lead to 24 points. When we started getting to the 6-minute mark and we started realizing we started messing up, cutting it to 13, that kind of stuff, LeBron James started walking the ball up. And in that situation, I started seeing the defense was able to kind of gather in on our guys, force turnovers, and ultimately make some highlights for themselves that got them back in the game. Few turnovers, few good shots for a guy like Terry Rozier, and we were looking at a 4-point game with a couple seconds left. That never had to happen. For the same effect that we're looking for to maintain our lead, we have to maintain the same things that get us those leads. It will have the effect that we're looking for. We are not playing into our hands by slowing down the pace because we're not actually conserving the clock. We're making the clock work in their favor, and that's what we need to understand. Pace is best for us. If it happens to turn into turnovers, we need to not psych ourselves out into thinking that it's because of that pace that we've done wrong. No, that may work with other teams who have better players, who can ISO a little better, who can play better in a half-court setting. But unless we're forcing the ball to TB, we probably need to play with a lot more pace, especially down the stretch of games when we have the lead. You know, I've watched the Lakers win a lot of different ways over the years when we had champions. Sometimes it was good for us to do this, where we would slow the pace down, conserve the clock for the last 4 minutes, and ultimately try to, just maintain our possessions and run down the shot clock. But this ain't the team for that, man. I'm telling you, it doesn't work. So that's what LeBron James is going to have to study, man. I know he has a certain philosophy about how to maintain games and win games by managing the clock. But this is the second time. It's the second time where I've seen his pace be a direct deterrent to our production down the stretch of basketball games when he's trying to keep a lead. You're playing to lose or to win in that situation, or at least you should want to instead of not to lose, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I don't like getting up here saying I know how to win basketball games better than LeBron James. That's just silly. But what I can see is what works, and then him stopping something that works, trying to conserve what he has, and then having the absolute reverse effect. So that's something he's gonna have to be open minded about and learn from, man, because we can't afford to give up games. We almost gave this game up, and we had a 24-point lead, and I never thought that we deserved to lose. It was just this needed to be understood, I guess is what I'm saying. You know, I didn't think guys were just messing up and no. Terry Rozier was pushing forward. He was doing great stuff. He's a killer. He's gonna kill you. He's gonna play better as the game closes. We know that about him. He's better down the stretch of the game than he probably is through the first 3 quarters. So it's like you don't want to allow a person like that to continue to get momentum as the game closes, because he's gonna keep hitting shots. You know, that's all it is. He's just gonna get better and better and better. And as the game winners start to approach, he's gonna be the guy that wants to take the shot. So your game is so much better when you continue to just push it down a team's throat, because you realize that pace and that action is what they couldn't stop. So that's what you should be doing as you're running out the clock. You feel me? Like that's what you want to be doing while the clock is running. You know, rather than to let the clock run and nothing's happening. You feel me? So it's like, I understand the philosophy, because you don't want to give the ball back. You don't want to allow for rebounds to go the other way. You don't want to turn into easy buckets, turnover fouls, all kind of stuff can go wrong. But action is what got you there. Inaction is what's going to play into the defense's hands. So I think this was a great game for the team to study, along with that Boston matchup. But we did the same exact thing, and it cost us that one. So we got to learn how to win, man. That's what I'm talking about. Learn how to win. Guys gotta learn philosophy, study old guys' games for how they, close basketball games. There's a million ways to close a basketball game. And I don't think walking the ball up in the final 4 minutes with a 10-point lead works. I just don't. Even when I was playing little video games and stuff like that, it never works when I stop doing the things that work for me. I just got to keep doing what's working. If we're playing at a super fast pace and we're shooting before the 10-second mark in the shot clock, chances are if that was killing the other team, that's exactly what I need to be doing down the stretch of the game. And you know what's going to happen? The score's going to keep running up until the game is. That's what ends up happening. As to where you think it ends up doing what actually ends up happening when you slow it down, which is you giving them possessions and then them scoring the ball. No, that's not what's going to happen. Because you're going to keep putting the pedal to the metal on something that they can't stop, which is that fast pace or whatever the heck you've been doing the whole time. So that's what it is, man. Don't stop doing what works just because the clock is starting to say something. Nah, the clock is in our favor. Let's keep doing what we've been doing. It's all about the psychological aspect of it. If you're a killer and you know you can kill, you don't got to slow down. What you slowing down for? Demoralize them. More clock means more time for them to get beat. More time for them to sit there and suffer while I'm killing them. That's a good thing. So if you're thinking like that, you don't want to run out the clock. You want to put more pressure on their heads. So it's just about a mentality, It's about how you approach. And that's how I think champions roll. They put that pressure on, and they don't get scared down the stretch about mistakes, because they ain't about to make no mistakes. They too busy enjoying the fact that the other team is losing. You feel me? It's just about the mentality. So that's why I say about LeBron James, you got to get nasty. That's the difference. He wants the clock to end so he can hurt and win. And that's a good thing. But you got to get nasty too. You got to want the clock not to end so the team can keep suffering. Like literally. So that's what it is. If you're doing things the right way, you can enact that. That killer instinct is what I'm talking about. That's what being the Lakers is really about, man. We can beat you a million different ways, and we've won every game there is to win. So, we know how to do it. Study us. That's why I tell her, hey, old Lakers are the best case studies, because we've won everything. We've lost everything too. So if you study all the Laker footage, you're gonna see everything you need to see in this sport, because we've done it all and been there, seen it all throughout the years. So that's something I want to say. Max Christie didn't get any minutes tonight. I'm not happy about that, man. I'm going to keep calling it out. I don't think the Lakers are doing the right thing when you give Patrick Beverley 32 minutes and a young kid like Max Christie gets none. Hustling backwards. Ain't that one of the favorite things we've been saying lately? It's hustling backwards. I love what Patrick Beverley's doing for me, and I like him on the floor. But if I'm not developing Max Christie into being a better asset than what he is, then I've missed my mark on what it is I am as a team that's not very good, that doesn't have any picks and assets. So maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. I don't know. I'm not a pro, but I don't think that you can have a player who can do the things that he does, have the issues that we have, and not play him. But I guess tonight, with the rotations being as they were, we kind of able to get away with it since we weren't so small. But at the end of the day, I love his rebounding, shooting, and I don't think that him not playing makes him a more reliable player. I think we need to play him more, let him make the mistakes he's going to make, and then from there he can be a better rotation player for us as the season closes. But usually with rookies, they don't really want to do nothing that first year. They don't want them guys to do anything but learn. And just go through the ropes of learning how to be a pro, and then they unleash them in the summer league of the next year, and then from there they work their way into the rotation. But it's just a process that I just think is outdated, to be honest with you. And so I say it as much as I can. But anyway, that's that. What else? There were some other things, I'm sure, but overall this game really provided a lot of good stuff. I like how Wenyen Gabriel played Mark Williams down the stretch of that game, a much bigger player. You know, we've been talking about Mark Williams all day. 9 rebounds. I think he had like 6 points last time I checked. I don't know. I didn't see the final stats on him, but that's what it looked like down the stretch of the fourth quarter when I last looked. So what I saw from Wenyen Gabriel was just him bodying up Mark. Obviously, we said Mark's like 7'1", 7'2", huge body. And Wenyen was just trying to fighting him, pressing around him, pushing around him, doing everything he could to ultimately gain positioning. And one thing about Mark is going to be very good at finding himself deep in the paint. He is excellent at that. One of the best at it already. So to see our guy, Wenyen, who's smaller than him, kind of push him out of that positioning down the stretch of a basketball game and fight with him in the way that he did, I thought it stood out. It definitely stood out for me. And I thought that was something was kind of funny in the first quarter. Patrick Beverley lobbed the ball to LeBron James, and the lob didn't actually turn into anything. LeBron had to let it fly, and then kind of ended up turning into a situation where Patrick actually touched it himself before LeBron was able to touch it first. Turned into a turnover. It was funny to me because Coach subbed him out absolutely immediately. I don't think I've ever seen a guy sub out as fast as Coach Ham subbed Patrick Beverley out for missing up that lob. I've never seen a player get subbed out that fast for a mistake. But that's exactly what happened there. And I thought it was very funny. But we ended up seeing Patrick Beverley later on in that game. But I was just wondering if that was going to be him getting benched after that. Turned out Russell ended up getting benched, ironically. But I'm curious to see what the story is on that, because I know there's probably one, man. If it ain't an injury, something happens. Somebody said something to Russell that got him into a space where he wanted to be ego Russell tonight. I'm gonna take the 3. I'm taking it. Ain't make cool. I don't care. It's that kind of energy, and it's like we ain't seen that in a while from him. That's not where he's been with it as of late. So I don't know what changed. I don't know if there's a new trade rumor coming. I don't know what's going on, but when I say I'm certain something's going on, I am certain something's going on with Russell Westbrook. I'm 100% certain of that. I just don't know what it is. So it is what it is. Charlotte gave us a great show tonight. Great crowd. I hated that floor. Honestly, I hate that floor with all my heart and soul. It's one of the ugliest floors in the history of the sport. I kid you not. But I got used to it after a while. I did. But it was one of those situations where I was wondering, am I going to be able to watch this? Like, it was so much of a headache to look at that green and that weird brown. I don't know. But, yeah, they need to scrap that color scheme. Scrap the hell out of that, man. I just want to put that out there. But anyway, so that's what we got, man. Great, entertaining basketball game tonight. Great way to end a 3-win road trip where we played 5 games that were not easy, man. Holiday games at that. Bron birthday, Christmas, New Year's, and we had just come off of a long road trip. We're finally at the end of our long, heavy stretch of road games, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of that. We do go back on the road for some clusters. We do have to go to New York again. But as far as the heavy East road trip that lasts 2 weeks and all that, we've done it. It's more home games ahead for our team. So I want to congratulate the Los Angeles Lakers on getting past the most difficult stretch on our schedule. That is what we just completed, in my humble opinion. It's not going to be a lot of easy games ahead. It's going to be some tough home games ahead, but at least you get to sleep in your own bed. You see a lot of purple and gold floors, so it's going to be a situation where I'm wondering, and I have a theory about this, but I do believe that some of the players on our team play a lot better when they're on the road. They're more comfortable on the road. It's less pressure on the road. They ain't got to deal with that LA aura on the road. And I think it does have that kind of effect on our team. So I'm going to be curious to see how some of these guys play when they get back to Staples. If some of them are going to start clamming up under that purple and gold light, because I got a feeling that some of these dudes would much rather play in the Bible Belt, low-key. I really believe that. Some of these dudes don't want to be seen every night. They just happen to be on the Lakers. I really think that. But nevertheless, what we got was a victory that we could all be proud of. Effort from players all up and down the roster. And I thought the coaching was a much better effort tonight. We saw much better coaching rotations, much better everything from Darvin Ham. I thought the players responded well to what we were doing. I love the dive passes and the confusing plays that we were running. It just kept Charlotte on their heels for the majority of the first 3 quarters. And like I said, we just took our foot off the gas in the fourth quarter, unassumingly, and let them right back in the game, you know. I think it was just simply a mistaken strategy that guys use that just doesn't work for the roster that we have. We just gotta keep our foot on the gas, stay aggressive, and stay is the word unsung, I guess you could say, or stay like underdogs. You gotta have that underdog mentality in every game you're in. That's the way the Lakers gotta play. You're not favored to win nothing. You don't have a lead that is safe. You can't effectively defend everyone. All of that. You gotta look at yourself as lesser and look to overachieve and be humble in that space. And I think if we continue to do that, we'll overachieve. We'll do that. We'll do exactly that, man. We'll get where we're trying to go, because we do have some good, smart players, but we just got to get out our own way and continue to study what it is that we've done that did and did not work, and others too. Please, as I said, go back in the past and study how these guys close games, man. Study them old Spurs, how they handle those final 4 minutes of basketball games, 2-minute drills, 4-minute drills. When we stop doing what works, it has the opposite effect. No matter what the clock is saying, we got to do what we're doing the way that we do it. If not, you see what happens. Video 44. Thank you all for watching.